The envelope was tucked between two sketchbooks, its corners worn soft. Claire found it by accident on a slow morning in Florence, while reorganizing the shelves above her desk. She hadn't known it was there. Hadn't even looked for it. Her name was written in Michael's handwriting, slanted, steady, unmistakably his. No return address, just Claire. She sat on the bed for a long time, holding it. When she finally opened the envelope, the paper inside was folded twice, neatly. No creases of panic, no tear stains, just a letter written with clarity to late, but not empty. Claire, I'm not writing to ask for forgiveness. I know better now. There's no clever way to begin, so I'll say this plainly. I finally understand what I destroy. Not just the life we built, but the quiet between us, the trust, the small, wordless things that made our world feel like a place I could breathe. You gave me 1,000 moments I didn't deserve, and I squander every one of them. You were always reaching forward. I was always looking back. I clung to the ruins and called it loyalty. You tried to plant something in the dust and called it hope, and I mocked you for it. You were right, Claire. Even when I didn't have the strength to follow you, especially then. I see it now what I looked like when I left. Not a man seeking freedom, but someone running from the pieces of himself he refused to name. I said it was survival. But truthfully, I just didn't know who I was when I wasn't broken. If you're reading this, it means you made it somewhere. I hope it's beautiful. I hope the mornings are kind. I hope you're painting. Thank you for trying, for carrying both of us as long as you did. You were always the brave one. Michael. Claire didn't cry, not at first. Instead, she read the letter again, slowly, then folded it, once more, along the original creases. She slid it back into the envelope and placed it inside the drawer beside her bed. She didn't respond. Not because she was angry, but because there was nothing left to say. Some things weren't meant to be answered. Some things were meant to be let go gently, and without regret. Years later, Claire stood in the garden she had helped grow with her own hands. Vines curled along the stone walls, and wild roses tangled in the iron gate. It was not perfect, but it was alive. She had built a life out of scraps of moments, of memories, of places that had held her without demanding she stay. Florence had come and gone. Luca had moved to Spain to teach. She had loved him, in her own way. But in the quiet spaces of her soul, it was always Michael's voice she heard when the wind changed. She didn't mourn him anymore. Not like before. His letter, yellowed now, still lived in the drawer of a cedar box. She read it once a year, never on the same day. Just when her hands ached for the shape of the past, when the air tasted like ash and rain. He had never asked for forgiveness. And still, somehow, she had forgiven him. Not with words, but with the life she made in the aftermath. That spring, she painted something new. A landscape. Nothing dramatic. Just a road stretching through a field, vanishing into a sky smudged with smoke and gold. At the center stood two figures, small, distant, walking away from each other. No anger in their posture. No grief. Just motion. Just time. She signed it C and hung it in the hallway. And when visitors asked who the figures were, she always smiled and said, just ghosts. But privately, she called the painting. After the fall, the morning was soft with mist. The hills beyond the garden rolled in waves of green and gold, the sun just beginning to spill through the clouds. Claire knelt in the soil, pressing her fingers into the earth. Her nails were dirty. Her wrists were smudged with charcoal. Behind her, a half-finished canvas leaned against the stone wall, blues and ochres and a thin line of road trailing into sky. She paused. A breeze slipped through the olive trees, carrying the scent of rosemary and something faint like old paper or smoke. She stood slowly, brushing the dirt from her knees. Across the garden, a wooden chair sat empty, facing east. She walked to it, settled into its shape. A cup of tea rested on the armrest, still warm. His letter lay folded in her lap. She didn't open it this time. She just sat there, quiet, steady. The wind picked up slightly, tugging at the edge of the paper. Claire looked out over the horizon. Her gaze lingered not on the past, not on the ache, but on the soft space beyond it all. A breath held between chapters, a silence full of meaning. Her eyes closed. The wind rustled the garden. The sky shifted. Some things don't end. They simply stop needing to be held.